Started getting it going. Got our stuff
Mm-hmm.
happening there.
Okay.
It looks like we are live
Let me put my
and going
comment.
for it. Going for it. All right, here we go. And everybody, welcome. Good evening. Welcome back to Into the Woods. This is Dwayne.
This is Danita. Hi, everyone.
And we're so glad that you guys are here to join us once again for Into the Woods, where we talk about the woods. You know, we're the woods. It's Anita and Dwayne Wood. There are 6 of us. I keep saying 6, but there are actually 7, right? Because we had a special guest last week who makes 7 of us. And we talk about things that are going on in our lives, talk about us, and hopefully you could identify some things that you see, and then we can learn how to get better together. So that is Into the Woods. If you've not already done so, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you're here, you may have already done that, but hit subscribe and hit the bell so that you'll know when we go live and or we put new things on. So Danita, what's going on? What's happening in your week this week?
Just another week. This week is cold. Last
This
week
week is
was
cold.
hot. This week is cold. I mean, that's what's going on right now. That's about it.
That's right. We talked about Labor Day, and just after Labor Day, the cool weather came in.
Yeah. Well, a week
Cool.
late, but
Well,
it finally came. Yes.
it came, yeah. Well, so last week you were telling us about that wall behind you, and did you do something different this
I
week?
did.
You
The
did. Oh,
wallpaper
let me
I
get you on
showed
there.
you.
Let me get you on there. Okay. So what you
So
got?
the
Show us.
wallpaper that I showed you guys, can you see it?
Yeah, I
I
can see
put it
it.
up.
I can see it.
I put it up here, and
Okay,
I
so
love it.
that's the accent wall.
That is the accent wall.
I like it.
Yes.
I like it.
You like it?
You know what would be interesting is at some point to make that the way they come together, your background, so that your
Uh-huh.
camera's facing that, and we could see it all. But I like
Both
where
of
you
them
are.
together?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
work on it.
I
I'm
like
gonna work
where
on
you are. So yeah, so guys, you put it in the chat if you like that. So cool.
it. Yes.
So that's fun, and like we said, it's always good when you can do some stuff just to change up what you
Yes.
do. And
Yes.
I'm looking actually at my background, and there's something dark over there. Wait, was one of my lights
Yeah.
out?
Is
Yeah,
it?
I think one of my lights is out. One of my
Oh,
lights are out, but it's all right.
I didn't even
We
notice
we,
that.
we go we go. There we go. Okay, so what's on for today? What are we talking about? I've got an idea.
What's your idea?
My
Because we
idea is
usually
this.
just talk and then we find a subject that we both just latch onto and we go. So what's your idea?
Well, I was thinking about how we go through life and we make decisions, and sometimes those decisions are good.
Hmm.
They turn out the way we wanted them to turn out, and sometimes they don't,
Right.
and they don't turn out the way we wanted them to turn out. So how do we? And we've kind of talked a little bit before about pivoting and changing and so forth, but how do you really kind of navigate when things don't quite go the way you anticipate? And this came to mind because I was in our office. We have students that come through, and often I talk to students about their training and what they're doing, and it seems like such a daunting task that's coming in front of them. And so I tell them kind of my story, and I'll say that briefly, that I had a lot of trouble in medical school. So failing exams, actually leaving medical school at one time, and it seemed as though things were not going to work out for me, right? So I had this plan that, hey, this was going to be the path I was going to take. And in the middle of that, something happened, right? So these exams and these boards, and it didn't quite go the way I wanted it to go. And for a long period of time, I mean, I was depressed, and things weren't going, and and that has an impact on family and people around you. You kind of pull away. So what do you do when things aren't quite going the way you anticipate them that they should go?
Wow.
So that's the big part of the conversation. Okay. But kind of leading up to that, I think it's worth us reviewing, and I'm just cleaning my glasses. It's kind of worth us reviewing how did you come to the decision for that path in the first place, right? So is it a dream? Is it just a theory in your head? Did you make plans for what you needed to do to succeed? Did you go through those? Do you have goals? Are you executing? Are you evaluating what you've done? Is it working? Are you pivoting? Right? So there's that whole conversation. But ultimately, the conversation that we want to come back to is, okay, sure, they don't know that stuff, but what do I do now that things aren't quite going the way I anticipate?
Wow.
I know. I said a lot in there.
That's a lot to unpack.
There's a lot to unpack.
Yes.
Hey, that's why we do what we do. So yeah. So I guess let's start with that, right? And so I'm gonna put you on the spot like I always do. Is there something that you feel like you could share, right? That didn't quite go the way you anticipated? And it could be, something as simple as, I wanted to get a car. What have you had occasion where something didn't quite go the way you thought it was going to go?
It's so many.
There's so many.
Let me try to find one I would like to share, because it's a lot of them and they're big, right? Because I don't do little small things. They're usually big.
That's right. It's like go big or go home, right?
Yes. So So I have a patent, right?
Okay, you have a patent. Okay.
And I have this big old dream that I'm going to get this patent, and I'm going to do the prototype, and I'm going to, change the industry. It didn't happen.
Okay.
And so that was like, so what do I do now? Like, where do I go? You like, why did you go down those paths? Like, why did I make that choice to do that? That was one of the things that you asked in your intro.
Right.
Well, I saw a need, and I'm like, oh, I have an idea, and so that's what took me down that path.
Okay.
So how did I pivot?
Well, before we get to the pivot,
right.
So you had this idea because you saw a need, right? So something's going on. You saw a need, and you decided, okay, well, let me ask a question. Was it that you saw the need and say, hey, I can help people in that space, or you saw this thing and say, hey, wait a minute, I think I can do something a little better than what was there? Well, how did that go?
It was both. It was both. I saw a need that I can help people with, and I figured I can do something different in this space. So it was a dual thing.
Right.
So it helps me to answer these questions if you ask me a question.
Okay. And so how did you go about? So you saw this need, you had a vision. How did you go about bringing the vision to the point where you actually got a patent? Like what was that process like?
So I connected with oh my gosh,
designer.
He helped me. Yes, a designer, and we spoke about it, and we went back and forth, and we created it, and then I contacted a manufacturer, and we had that conversation. Well, before the manufacturer, so we submitted the patent. I got a patent lawyer, and I created the patent.
Right? So I'm gonna pause there, and I'm so here. I'm gonna pick on Danita, okay? So that, because I was talking to somebody today, and I was talking about where do we find content for what we tell people, right? And I'm thinking right now about your process of getting a patent. That is content. We're always talking about content, right? So that's content right there, right? So there's somebody out there who's never gone through the process of getting a patent. So they don't even know the first step to how to get a patent. So that would be an amazing thing to, hey guys, if you want to put it, say #patent, #patent, okay? So we get Danita to tell us about that. but you get the idea that we're always like, oh man, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to do? What am I going to teach? What am I going to show people? And there's a vast amount of information that we have, that we go through every day, that we kind of just negate, and we lose it because we think it's not important for other people.
We think
it's not important because we did it.
We think our lives are boring, but then when you start talking about it to other people, in your head, you're still like, eh. But like you said, other people are like, well, like, how did that happen? Because I want to do that. But you're just like.
Right. So, okay. So you had this vision, you saw a need, you decided, you came up with this idea, you got a designer. You guys drew up, I guess a mock-up of this thing.
Mm-hmm. We did.
And then you took it to a patent lawyer and got a patent. So if I search out there, I can find Danita Wood patent, whatever. Woohoo! Yes. Wow! Come on, guys. I'm gonna give her a hand clap and some music. Okay, there you go. So yay! #Danita. Danita is the boss. Danita is the boss. There we go. Okay. So anyway, so you got this thing, right?
Right.
And I'm gonna say that I remember when I got the very first envelope. I was on surgery. I was on my surgery rotation.
Right.
And actually, I don't know. I don't think I got an envelope, but I got a call to the office. Mm-hmm. And they said to me, hey, you didn't pass the exam, right? So this was my first attempt. I was on surgery. And you have an option. You can stop now and then retake the exam, or you could finish surgery and then take the exam after that. And in my head, this wasn't a big deal. So I was going to finish up surgery. And then, of course, I was going to take it again. And I was going to rock it, right? Mm-hmm. But that initial going to the office and them saying to me, hey, you didn't pass your step exam. I can't tell you the amount it was like this heavy boulder just got put on my shoulder. Okay. And I think I hung my head as I walked out, but then I was like, okay, I think I can do this, right? And I went back, and after surgery, I took the exam again, and I didn't. And they called me back to the office, and this time I knew, right? when they call you to the office, they weren't calling to tell you, yo, man, you did it, you rocked it. And I think I walked into the office, my shoulders were drooped, my head was hung. And for months after that, it was like I couldn't come out of that space. So for you, how did you find out, or how did you realize, okay, things weren't working out? So I'm sure nobody called you into their office, but how did you realize?
Well, I mean, workout for me was a financial thing, right? Mm-hmm. Because once you have a patent and stuff, you have to then make prototypes. So the workout became that there were no funds, pretty much. And so that's where everything came to a halt. Mm-hmm. So yes, I felt like you. Anything that doesn't end up the way you wish it should, whether it be a test or financial, or you have to move, or you feel that weight because it's something that you're striving for. And so when you run up against a wall, then mm-hmm. You do feel that weight, and then where do I go?
Right.
How do I now fix this? Do I abandon, like you said, and do I go forward? Do I change? Like, what do you do?
Right.
So,
right. So right there, let's put a pin and let's talk about. So one of the things, whenever I am talking to a client or sometimes talking to patients, I ask them, what does this thing mean? All right, whatever it is, whether we're trying to change something or we're trying to get something, some task, some ambition, some goal. Okay. What does it mean if I get the goal? If I achieve that, what does that mean for life? So what did, and you kind of said financial, but give us a little bit more. You said what would it have meant for Danita if this worked out the way you anticipated it would work out?
It would have meant that I did it. I changed the whole traveling industry. Mm-hmm. See how I set up? You see that?
You guys saw that? She got a little up in her back, right? So that pride.
Yes, like I accomplished this. I did this. I set out to. I made a significant change in the world, and that's what it would have meant. Period. Okay. And I would have been very proud of myself that I thought about this thing and I brought it into fruition. It's a tangible thing. So yeah, that's what it would have meant. I'd have sat up straight, like I did this.
Okay, so a lot of pride, a lot of personal accolades. You already mentioned financial, changing an industry, right? You saw the need; it would have filled the need. So there are all these positives that were there. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing I ask people is, what does it look like when it doesn't work out? Or what does that do to the mind? What does that do to the body? What does that do to the spirit when
it makes you feel like you fail? It's the opposite of that pride that you feel. Well, at least it was for me. Right? Like, okay, yeah, I got this far and now, I have to stop for whatever reason, and it's almost like I failed because I didn't get to that end goal. I didn't get to the finish line and cross it. Right? So it's still, we're still running, but that finish line just seems so much further because of whatever obstacles are. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. And so here's the space. So we're sitting at a place where what we want didn't work out. And so all of the accolades are not there. The financial is not there. The changing the industry is not there. And so the weight is on you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think most people feel in that initial moment?
Like a failure.
Well, that's what happened, right? So they think they're a failure. So and we'll talk a little bit about words here in a minute. But okay, let's assume feel failure, or they feel like they failed. But what emotion are they feeling at that moment? Because the failure is the thing that happened. Well, but what emotion are they feeling?
Sad.
Do you think for a lot of people? Okay, sad. And it's not a right or wrong answer, but just I was mad.
You were mad.
I was mad. I mean I was like, I was mad, because there were so many things that came to mind, so many places that I began putting blame, and the biggest place was me, because I thought there were things that I was doing that and for those of you who are watching, we couch a lot of what we talk about in spirituality, religious, church, and so forth. And I think my theology was crossed. I was actually talking to one of our pastors last week about this, because I thought there were things that I was personally doing, aside from my taking this exam and going through medicine, that I was being punished, right? So my failure in this instance was punishment for that, right? So I was angry. I was angry at myself. I was angry at God. I was angry at the world. Okay. And we've talked before that I became angry about with the people around me, my family, my friends, because I was in this depression. I was going through this failure, and and if you guys know the story, it's multiple failures, and I felt that people should have come and gotten me. It was almost like I was in the middle of an ocean and nobody came to get me. And so the more that happened, the more angry I became, the more I pulled away, right? And so sometimes in our existence, I think people go through all these motions, anger, shame, regret, whatever, sadness, all of those things. And one of the big things that we do is we begin pulling away from the people who, right, are there, who are supposed to really kind of build us up and so forth.
It's true. It's true. We kind of feel people should know, right? So yeah, we do pull away because we feel like part of it they don't. We pull away because we think they should know, and then even if they do know, I just lost it. It was a good point.
Let me see if I can finish this for you. So you think they should know, right? And even if they didn't know, they see you pulling away and they never came to you.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's the one that really for a long time kind of stuck in my craw.
Yeah.
That I was not around, that I was away, that I was not in the middle, and nobody came to get me. Like nobody threw me a lifeline. Nobody said, "Hey, what's going on?"
Yeah.
Okay. So we're in that space, right? And so how does one get out of that space?
That's a hard one because we kind of tend to want to stay there. It's comfortable. It feels good. It feels good.
Well, yeah. After a while, it gets comfortable. Yeah. So, how do you get out?
Comfortable. I don't know. You just gotta get up and go. You just gotta get up one day and say, "This is not gonna work." And you gotta start reaching out to people. Because clearly they ain't not coming to reach out to you.
They're not coming.
Seriously, because you've been sitting here for a minute. So you got to get up and go do something.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let me pause right there. And so Cap Law, hey Cap, thanks for coming through and hanging out. And so Cap said the feeling is disappointment.
Yes.
Disappointment. That's a big one. That's a big one. So Cap, you're out there. Tell us a little bit more. So disappointment. Is it disappointment that the thing didn't work out? Disappointment in yourself? Disappointment? Give us a little bit more. I think I agree that we feel disappointment, but give us a little bit more, a little rounding of that word for us. But yeah, I don't know. So it took me a long time, yo. It took me. When I say a long time, it took me years because the exams kept coming and I kept failing. So it's not like, okay, one time and it was done. It's like okay, and at one point, and this is going to have to be a decision that people make. Now, when I'm talking, and if you hear me talk in depth at all, I tell people, right, that you've got to have determination, stick-to-itiveness, and so forth. But at some point, right, some people have to make a decision. Okay, am I sticking my head down and I'm plowing through this, or am I going to say, okay, this is not working quite the way I want it, and I need to pivot? Okay, so Danita, how do you make that decision?
To pivot?
To pivot or to stay?
Well, if you believe in what you're doing, right? Like you really believe in it, you're gonna continue to go. I think but pivot it's you're questioning what you're doing. So you know what,
Mm-hmm.
this is not working. So I'm gonna go try to do something else. So
Right.
you don't fully
Right.
believe it. If you pivot, if you don't really believe in it, you forge ahead. If you do, it's kind of how I
Right.
look at it. Because yeah,
Well, I wonder though, right? Like, I'm trying to think of something, and I'm going to use this, and this may still be possible, right? Like right now, I decide, you know what? I'm going to be an astronaut. I'm going up to the space station. I'm going to be a cosmonaut. I'm joining NASA or whatever branch I need to join, and I'm going to be one of the space station, one of the lieutenants up there, right?
astronaut. Okay.
Astronauts. So I almost doubt, right, that that's going to be an eventuality.
Right.
Okay, I can believe it. I can read all the books, but I don't think it's going to work, right? So how does one get there? Like, okay, and I think this goes back to when we were talking about setting these goals, right? We talk about SMART goals, things that are that we can. It's a method that we use to make goals that are achievable. Okay. I think probably if I sat down to make a SMART goal for becoming an astronaut, I would probably have to stop because I would not finish the process because it's possible, but is it really achievable? I don't know. Okay. So Cap is coming back with more on the disappointment. Cap says, because of the disappointment, and I said, hey, give us a little bit more. And his comment, or Cap, male or female, sorry, says, I should have done more. So you think I should have pressed more. I should have pushed more. I should have studied more. I should have something more. Right? So that's that's I think part of the disappointment. And Cap says, I don't have a plan B. So when I put my all into something, I believe it should work out. Okay. So when it does not, it's something painful. Yeah. Yeah. He said, but you need someone to say it's okay. It will happen. Thank God you have got this far. Okay. And Cap is male. Thank you. Okay. Cap is male. So there's this, I forget which movie. I don't know if it was the second Batman. It was a Batman movie. And so Bruce Wayne is in a prison. And I forgot where the prison is. But they have all the prisoners down in a dungeon. And there is this funnel kind of that comes out of the dungeon, and it's very steep. The rock wall is slick. Okay. And nobody has ever escaped. Mm-hmm. And guy after guy, inmate after inmate, they tie the rope around themselves and they begin climbing. And I mean, at first they're doing it. They're getting up, they're going up, they're climbing. And at some point they slip and they fall and they come back down. So they never get out of the, right? And when they fall, the rope holds on to them because there's like rocks and stuff down. Mm-hmm. So they fall all the way, they would die. Well, Bruce Wayne decides he's getting out. Mm-hmm. And he makes a determination and he starts climbing the wall. And somebody says to him, hey, you don't have a rope. Mm-hmm. And he gets out. So somebody asked him, well, how did you wake up? He said, because I had to. I didn't have a rope. Mm-hmm. So I deliberately decided I'm not tying a rope to myself. Because if I don't make it,
I die.
If I don't make it, I die, right? So is that the way to go? Where we come hell or high water, I'm doing this. I'm not taking a rope. I don't need a net. I don't need a safety net. I don't need boom. I'm going for it.
I mean, it could be. I mean, if you have no choice, you are
Right.
definitely going to get to that end, right?
Yep.
You don't have a choice. There's
You
nowhere
don't have a
else to
choice.
go.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay. I like that. So we are in this space. We've done something. We have a goal. We're going after it. We've done all the things we should do, we're supposed to do, and we don't get it. And we're in the space, and we've decided, right? So we're in the space, we're depressed, whatever the emotions are. But we decide, okay, I can't stay here. So I think that's really that kind of the first decision, right? Yeah. That I can't stay in this space.
Yeah, stay in there. Yeah.
I can't stay in the space where I'm depressed, where I am despondent, where I can't think, where I can't interact, where I'm pulling away from people, where I'm isolating. I can't, because that's not tenable. That's not a sustainable place. And if we stay in that space, the thing that we wanted doesn't work out, and life itself doesn't work out. No, because we basically disconnected from life.
Of course. So you gotta get up and go out there.
Right. So you got to get up. You got to go out there. So I can't stay here. I can't stay here. I love it. Love it. Mm-hmm. All right. And then what else? What else?
You mean what else? What else in regards to getting up?
What else do you have to do? You have to decide. You have to decide that you can't stay there. All right. What else you got to do?
Yeah.
What are some other things that you should do? Could do.
I mean, well, I think I just said it. You got to take action. You got to physically get up and go. You got to go. Hey, Dwayne, what's going on? How you? I haven't talked to you for a while. You got to connect, right?
Yep.
So yeah, that's what.
So you need community. You need community.
Yeah.
You need community. And as we get into this part, I'm going to say something that I've been saying a lot recently, that it really doesn't matter what aspect of our lives we are trying to change. There are some basic principles that run throughout all of it. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the first one that we just talked about is realization. You got to know, and you've got to accept where we are. Mm-hmm. That, hey, I can't stay in this place. This place is not tenable. This is not going to be the place that I'm going to be successful.
Right.
Right. And then we've got to get community around us. Mm-hmm. Now that's a hard one, right? Because you done told everybody.
You done what?
Told everybody. see how you threw that in there? That's my Southern coming out. You told everybody that I'm doing this thing. I'm getting this degree. I've got this thing that I'm doing. I'm gonna be this. I'm opening the business. I'm getting this new job. Right. So you've told you've told people, and now it didn't work out. And now it didn't work out. And so you're almost ashamed to go back and say, hey, this didn't happen. This didn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a hard one. Yeah.
But community is so important if we are going to be successful.
It is.
It allows us, it kind of cushions us from those things that happen in our lives. I think of community kind of like jumping off of a building, right, and landing on a bed of feathers. They just kind of they absorb, right? They absorb all the force of what just happened to you. Otherwise, you jump off the building and you land on concrete.
That's true.
No absorption. It's like you're there by yourself.
But is there something to be said about the quality of the community? Like, you can have community, but if you're in the community and we're like, well, I told you so. Like, that's not feathers. That's
Right,
concrete.
so let's do that then. Let's define. So when I use the word community, I'm talking about the supportive community. We're not talking about just people, because you can have just people around.
Wanted to make that distinction.
Yeah. So you have to have quality folks around you. Which is why we talked about, like, maybe 2-3 weeks ago. I said, show me your 5 best friends, and I can tell you how successful you are.
Yep.
Community, right? And Cap says, the people that care about you will understand. Ooh, come on, Cap, say that again. Say that again. What? The people that care about you will understand.
That's true.
I love that, because sometimes we're so concerned about what people think, but the people that think that thing, they really aren't my community. They're not my people. Right? And you just said, oh, that's why I don't tell. But yeah, can you imagine if you come to the community and say, hey, man, I want to do blah blah blah, and you're right, and the community's like, nah, that's not gonna work. Yeah, you've never done that before. What makes you think you can do that now? You don't have the capacity for that. You don't have the education. You don't have the certification. You don't have the training for that. Right? Yeah. Okay, you need to find a different community. Right? And I'm not talking about community that doesn't speak truth, right? Because there is a time when the community has to say, look, dude, you are not going to the space station, okay? Let me just tell you that. You're not going to the space station. Like, I still may try to find a different community, but but you want a community that is going to speak truth, but a community that, because sometimes everybody doesn't have your vision.
Yeah, we said that. That's
and they can't see, they can't believe because they can't see it.
Right.
Okay. All right. So then we got to reflect. We got to reflect and analyze. Like, why didn't that one work out? What could I have done differently? What should I have done differently? Was there a different way of doing it? Right. And Danita, I'm gonna pick on you like I always do. I don't know why I keep playing with this mic. But did I need to get more investors, bigger investors? Did I need to do more marketing? Did I need to expand the initial infusion of cash, right, and resources into this? You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just using it as an example, but
that's fine.
But that's the kind of stuff that we need to begin now. Okay, this didn't work out. What do I do now? Why didn't it work out? And because you're about to try something else, which I'm coming to in a minute. And if you try something else without learning from where you are, that next thing is gonna be the same.
Gonna be the same.
Okay. So reflect, analyze, develop resilience and flexibility. Wow. Well, no, let me give another word. Resilience, flexibility, and optimism. Resilience, flexibility, and optimism.
You have to.
Those are some big words. Because resilience says that just because this didn't work out doesn't mean that something else is not going to work out.
That's true.
I'm resilient. I'm right. I'm bouncing back. Flexibility says I may not get this at the time I expected, in the way I expected, but I'm getting it. And if I don't get it, then okay, I pivot, right? I change, I switch. And the optimism says something is going to work out. I think I put that in the first one, but that's the idea. Resilience, flexibility, and optimism. Right? And then get back up.
Yeah. You always got to get back up.
Get back up. Because the next success is not going to be successful if you stay down.
Exactly.
If you stay down. Yeah, I love it. So we got a patent, right?
Yeah.
That's one. Ching, click. Right, you got it. Okay.
Yes, got it.
So let's get this. So now we got our journals. Pachoo.
Got that too.
Next, we're gonna be doing our podcasts. We're gonna be on Good Morning America. We're gonna replace what the lady name on there now.
Well, I don't even know. I don't even watch Good Morning
I don't watch it anymore. But yeah. So and then we keep going. And then we keep going and we keep trying something new, something different, something people ask me all the time, why do you keep doing the show? Why do you keep doing the Facebook? Why do you keep because I love learning. Like today I was watching a YouTube and they mentioned something, a new process, a way of doing something. And I was in the middle of doing something while I was listening to it, right? And I wanted to stop what I was doing and go now do that. I said, no. So I had to literally write that. Well, not write it, but I put it in my my organizer to go back and watch it, right? Because I was ready to just go. But I love learning and I love teaching. And for me, it is so exciting when I see the light bulb go on in somebody's eyes, somebody's mind, where they get the concept. Where they get there and say, hey, yeah, I can do that. So that's my big thing. I love that.
Big thing.
All right. So just like we did last week, we're going to bring a guest on, and Danita's going to talk to you guys while we work on doing that. Right, Danita? All right. So we'll see you in a little bit.
I don't know what to say.
I'm sorry. You did a great job last week. All right. Really? See you later. Bye-bye.
Okay. Well, here we are again, guys. I'm still nervous. I don't know what to say. I'm used to talking to someone. Well, Dwayne and you guys. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. This guy's always doing this to me. So what thing has or have you guys started and kind of had to stop because you got into an obstacle, and how did you pivot? What did you do? Put in the chat so we could talk about it. For me, although I had to pause for the reasons I mentioned earlier, I haven't given up on it. I just had to step back a little bit and see how I can get the finances to continue. So it hasn't been given up, but it's paused for right now. So how many of you had to do that? How did you feel? What did you do? Put in chat, please. Is it 2 minutes yet? Dwayne, are you there? Because I've run out of things to say.
All right, you ready for us?
Yes.
Okay, hold on a second. We're still working some stuff out here.
Okay.
There we go. All right, I think that's it. All right, here we come.
Right.
All right, guys, and look who we have back with us today. Miss Florence Wood. What's up, mommy?
I'm doing okay.
You doing all right? Okay. So she's been hanging out with us down here, and I'm not sure what's going on back there, but that's okay. So, what's going on? What's happening? How was your week?
Oh, my week was great.
Yeah? Okay. Do anything fun this week?
Well, I went walking.
Yeah, she's been walking, just going out of the house every day,
Yeah.
hanging out. So that's good.
Walking down the slopes.
Walking down the slopes and walking stronger.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank
I'm
God.
trying to work on my back.
You're trying to work on your back? Okay. Can you hear her okay?
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
hear her.
You can hear her? Okay. All right, good. So we talked about doing this wisdom from Florence. So we talked about it today. I'm not sure what you have for us.
Well, I was thinking of success. Because in life, if you want to achieve, you have to have a plan. And then you have to stick to the plan as you go along. When you've brought the plan to somewhere where you think you need an advice, you have to know who you're telling about the plan. Because, like Denita said, you have to own it before you can share it. And if you have the plan and you're success and you're persistent and you keep at it, then at the end of the road you'll have success. But if you decide I didn't get through today, I'm going to put it aside. And as you lay it aside for a few days, the more it becomes dormant, sitting on the table or wherever, it becomes the same way in your mind. And after a few days, then that plan is not a plan anymore. And in my life, I have realized many such plans was not achieved because I didn't have the persistence to do it.
Okay, so persistence.
Yes.
So have a plan, work the plan, and be persistent about it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, fair enough. I like that. I think that's a good wisdom from Florence. Yeah, what do you think, Danita?
That's a great wisdom from Florence.
So, but that's it, y'all. I mean, it's that's how life is, right? So the only constant in life is change. That's the only constant. That things are not going to be the same tomorrow as they were today, and that is encouragement to make sure that you've got plans, you're developing those traits that will allow you to be resilient, to be optimistic, to be flexible. And that also encourages you that whatever didn't work out today, wherever you are, whatever space you're in, you're not going to be in that same space tomorrow.
Exactly.
Right? So it's not going, whatever the trouble is, it's not going to last. It's not going to last always. So that's it. So guys, once again, if you have not already done so, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you, Cap, for being here, man, and for interacting with us. If you've not done so, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so that you will be alerted when we go live and when we put additional content up. We love to engage with you, so go ahead, and if you find us on social media, if you see us on the YouTube channel, go ahead and drop in the chat, put hashtag replay, right? So hashtag replay, and we'll be sure to get back to you if you ask a question or something like that. Now, we hope that as we've done this, as we've talked, that you identify a little bit in yourself in what we've talked about. And you can use some of the information that we said so that we can all come out of the woods together. Get it? Into the woods, out of the woods. Hey, I love it. Danita, any final words?
I think Mommy could do that. Mommy, you have any final words?
Well, the final word I can say is that now that we have learned these things, we ought to put them in practice.
Boom. Drop the mic. Drop the mic right there. Put them into practice, right? Don't don't just let this go on the shelf. Don't just let this be an episode of a show that you saw, but you actually begin using the things that we talked about here. And we will see you at our next show. This is Dwayne.
This is Danita.
Florence. I'm Florence.
All right. You guys take care. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.